Burning in your eyes, on the way I'm dancing, can I feel this freeze? At night I lock the door when no one has been seen. Ooh, boy, you got to prove your love to me. Yeah, I knew I'd dead for you.
But I do want to say that I'm excited about knowing about this sort of core of interesting people that are springing up in this sort of unlikely place today. I'm real happy about that. And well, the reason that I'm here is to introduce to you the father of Joan Baez. I thought I'd go ahead and get that out of the way because somebody inevitably says it. It's of course not what he's here for, and he's got a wonderful story about that, and I hope he tells you. And of course he's got this long list of impressive credentials that any great speaker about any good scientist should have. Of course he went to Drew University and Syracuse and Stanford and all of those sorts of things. And of course he's been everywhere and done everything and has been honored by everybody. But there's a couple of things that need to be said. I think he's sort of a come lately to environmentalism, which is interesting. An interesting thing about lifelong learning, which is something that I believe in. His latest thing is the International Union of Conservation of Nature, which is an international organization that he was the education chair. He's also worked with UNESCO, with science education of children all over the world. But aside from all of that, I want to tell you, I've got to spend a little bit of time with him over the past couple of days, and I want to tell you something about him that to me recommends him to you. He has a calmness and centeredness that is just really a pleasure to be around and something that you can learn from, and recommends him to me as an educator. And one other thing is that he seems to me to be interested in everything. Whether it's the binary number code used to encode music on a compact disc, or the way the music sounds coming out of a hurdy-gurdy, is something that he can learn about and is interested in. And at 75 or something, I think that gives me hope that I can keep learning my whole life and stay interested and vital my whole life. I think he's worth listening to. I'm real glad that we had a part in bringing him here to you today. And if you're doing other things like this, call us, because we can help. We can help. Call FSU, and if you get put off by a secretary or something, call me. There are people around here who know how to get in touch with me. Dr. Baez, would you come talk to us?
Friends, it's a pleasure for me to be here with you. It happens that I have to catch a plane very shortly, and this is why they've asked me to speak initially. So I will spend a few minutes with you, and then I will have to dash off to catch my plane. I am very encouraged by the fact that meetings like this are taking place. The first Earth Day that I knew of was about 20 years ago. I'm sure you've read about it. And then 10 years ago, there was kind of a revival of interest in these matters. But I think the situation worldwide has reached the point where all of us have to become involved. I didn't call myself an environmentalist really until after, well, certainly after I was 60. So I've told this story many times, that Winston Churchill once said, if you're 20 years old and you're not a socialist, you have no heart. But if you're 40 years old and you're still a socialist, it's because you have no head. But then I've thought about this, and in my old age I say, if you reach 60 and you're not an environmentalist, you have neither head nor heart. So friends, you are here because you have both head and heart, and in that we have something in common. I gave a talk last night called Respect and Affection for the Earth. I am going to give you some brief, it's not really even a summary, I'm just taking some of the topics of what I said last night because I think perhaps they're worth repeating here. Now, I will not have time to suggest to you in detail what you should do about the environment or what you should do about the Earth. There are many books on this subject, and I hope you will pick up some of them. Go to any library and you'll see books like 100 Simple Things That You Can Do to Save the Earth. There are at least 20 books that are based on that idea. So I'm not here to repeat to you all the different things that you should do. So what I will try to do is instead to tell you why. Why is it important for us to save the Earth? Why do we consider it important to have respect for the Earth? Briefly, the reason is that the Earth is a unique planet. So let me read to you something that I wrote on that subject once before. We live in a moment of historic importance during which human beings took the first steps of space exploration. In 1969, astronauts landed on the moon. It was a phenomenal feat of technology. It confirmed what we suspected. The moon is a most inhospitable place, fiercely hot on one side and freezing cold on the other. No oxygen to breathe and no water to drink. Since then, unmanned exploration of the planets has begun. This has also confirmed what we had surmised. Not a single planet possesses the conditions for life as we know it on Earth. They are too hot or too cold, too large or too small, or they have atmospheres with unbreathable gases. All explorations to date confirm the statement I once saw on an automobile bumper sticker. It said, "Good planets are hard to find." Perhaps the single most impressive photograph made by the astronauts is the picture taken not as they looked out into space, but of the Earth looking back at it. What they saw was our blue planet, whose surface is mostly water, the substance which makes our Earth a paradise that can support life in its myriad forms and species of plants and animals. What we cannot see is the blanket of air, our atmosphere, which envelops the Earth. It contains invisible molecules of oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide, without which life is impossible. These gases exist in proportions which promote the symbiotic relation between plants and animals. We breathe in oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. The trees breathe in carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen. What I'm really trying to say is that no other planet has the ability to generate life as we know it. So we are on a unique planet. That in itself should give us pause when we consider what we're doing to it and what we're doing to the web of life on this Earth, because we are destroying it. Some have said that the Earth itself is alive. Now, I don't want to carry that too far, but I'm going to treat the Earth as if it were alive. Unamuno, a Spanish philosopher, once said, "To believe in God is to long for his existence and to act as if he existed." So I urge you to look that way upon the Earth. To believe in a living Earth is to long for its existence and to behave as if it existed, to behave as if the Earth is alive. So I'm going to treat the Earth as a living being, and therefore, along with other living beings, it deserves our respect. Respect and affection. Now the question is, what or who is doing the most damage to the Earth? And the answer is simple. It's human beings. Without human beings on the Earth, the sky might still be blue everywhere, and the waters might be clear. And it's simply because the human species is the species that is multiplying so fast that at the rate we're going, and considering our demands, we will ruin the Earth. We will destroy its life-giving properties. There are 5 billion people on the earth right now. And 35 years from now, there will be close to 10 billion people on the earth. And 70 years from now, there will be close to 20 billion people on the earth. And if all of them want to live according to the living standards of Americans, you can imagine what that's going to do to the atmosphere and to the whole surface of the earth. Therefore, population and overpopulation is one of the most serious problems on earth. However, it is really because human beings have human needs. And so in order to satisfy these human needs, we are destroying the natural resources of the earth. So we have to consider how to mend our ways. What is it we're going to do? Well, I'm not going to give you my whole speech, but I did talk about 3 other P's besides population. The others are one is population, the other is pollution, poverty, and the proliferation of nuclear weapons. These are 4 important problems that we have to deal with. All of them have an impact on the earth. Okay, what are the solutions? Well, obviously, in 5 minutes, I cannot tell you how to solve all those 4 problems. But let me say this, that I have faith that we will solve these problems if we educate our children properly. And what do I mean by that? I don't mean simply that they have to learn the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Of course they have to learn that. I'm thinking really at a much deeper level. I think our education should generate 4 C's: curiosity, creativity, competence, and compassion. The first 3 are important in all walks of life. You cannot have science without curiosity. You cannot have technology without creativity. You cannot have production without competence. But those 3 are not enough. Our armed forces had plenty of curiosity, creativity, and competence in order to generate the weapons that were being used. In other words, the 3 C's alone are not going to guide us in the right direction. I claim that we need the 4th C, compassion. Without compassion, we're not going to be driven to have the respect that we need for the earth. So, in brief, I would say this: what we need is to have respect and affection for all living things. Therefore, we have to include plants and animals and people and the earth itself. We have to treat the earth as a living being and therefore have respect and affection for it. The word respect is something that I was turned on to by a quotation from a Mexican president, Benito Juarez, who was born of Zapotec Indian parents. He once said, "El respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz." Respect for the rights of others is the basis of peace. So if you will include, among others, not only people, but plants and animals and people and the earth itself, then you will have the basis of peace on the earth and peace with the earth. Peace to you.
John? Yes, we really appreciate Dr. Baez coming. Show that we have lots of people here today.
All I think I might.
Well, get out of your way. You try to work. Thanks a lot.
I'm looking high, I'm searching high, looking for a new love,
Lenny Hemp, tell us how that hemp could save the planet. We can get rid of using petrochemicals and fossil fuels.
Glad to see everybody can make it out to enjoy this nice sunny day and check out all the environmental things that we can do. First of all, I'd like to start out by telling you exactly what TEACH is. TEACH is an educational organization dedicated to gathering and distributing accurate information about cannabis sativa, which is hemp, marijuana. TEACH is actively involved with sharing this information with individuals and groups from all spectrums of politics. If hemp was legally available, it would directly replace 10 to 20% of all prescription drugs and 40 to 50% of all medicines with the use of derivatives from the plant. Medical uses of marijuana include asthma, epilepsy, glaucoma, anorexia, multiple sclerosis, migraine headaches, back pain, and one of our #1 killers that all of us feel is stress. Most recently, we have found that marijuana helps to diminish the nauseating side effects from the drugs used to combat the AIDS virus, which, by the way, up to date is the total death toll from this deadly disease is 100,000. They say by 1993 it's going to reach 300,000. Oh, by the way, we also have a proposal that's going through Panama City right now. We're trying to get it on the agenda to help keep people who medically need marijuana from being busted and being dragged through the court system and degraded the way Kenny and Barbara Jinks have been. We feel it's totally unfair. The government has refused to fund any positive research of marijuana. And the reason being is because the pharmaceutical companies took over the research and decided not to share this information with anyone. Mainly they want to control the effects, the positive aspects of it. It can be used as a food for humans and domestic animals. It's the second most complete vegetable protein source and amino acids of any food on our planet. It can also be used as a fiber on the planet. As a matter of fact, Levi jeans used to be made out of hemp before Prohibition. It's really an all-purpose plant. The part that's really going to make a big difference. In 1983, Carl Sagan and the EPA predicted worldwide disaster within 30 to 50 years. The reason being is that we're cutting down our trees faster than we can plant them. By reducing the amount of oxygen released in our air, the more CO2 is getting up into our atmosphere and tearing a hole in it. President Bush wants to use methanol fuel by the year 2000. This is one of his so-called goals. Hemp produces 10 times more per acre than corn. They use corn to produce methanol. Methanol can be produced by hemp at 10 times more, by producing 10 times more than what corn can. In fact, by using about 6% of our land in the United States to grow hemp as an energy crop, we can produce all 75 quadrillion billion BTUs needed to run America each year. Hemp is the only biomass resource capable of making America energy independent. Hemp grown for biomass and all commercial applications is useless to the smoker because they contain no THC. And THC is the part that gets you high. So when you see, one day, when you see all these fields grown full of hemp, you won't see anybody out there picking it and smoking it and things like that because it's not going to do any good. It's useless. The only The only positive thing is that we can use it for our environment, because it's not the evil drug that everybody says it is. It's one of the safest drugs known to man. Just seek education, find out the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenny. Lenny from Teach. Oh, by the way, there's a table right over here. You can talk to Lenny some more if you have any questions. And please come up and look at the literature and the product.
I've got one more thing to say. Jack Herer wrote a book called The Emperor Wears No Clothes. This is the most fact-filled book ever written on the subject of marijuana, prohibition, its uses, the whole 9 yards. You can contact Teach. We're trying to get some of these books so that we can distribute them out to the public. Check with us if you're interested. Stop by the table. We've got our phone number on some pamphlets there. Pick one up, give us a call. We'll be glad to talk to you about it at any time. Thanks again.
Thank you, Lenny. Appreciate hearing about some concrete solutions. I think everybody knows by now, even the people that aren't into the environmental movement, know that we do have some problems, and I think if we don't do something about our petrochemicals and using fossil fuels, and listen to what Lenny has to say with some concrete solutions and substitutions for petrochemicals, then we're just wasting time.
Very slow.
Tony Snyder's coming up to do some original songs we wrote about the book. So,
Get a picture of this pet here.
Get all the pictures you want.
Thank you very much. Have to get a picture of your pet.
Y'all have a happy birthday. Thanks for
I got a picture with him around my neck. Tony, we got a lot of compliments. Tell us some songs that you wrote.
That's a boa, isn't it?
It's a ball python. He'll wrap himself into a ball when he's scared. Stick his head in the center.
He must be a little bit upset right now.
He's ready to go somewhere or something.
That's pretty neat. How long is he?
About 3.5 feet.
That's pretty neat.
My name is Larry Olson, but I was asked to get Chief Seattle. Chief Seattle wasn't available, so I came as Morton the Mountain Man. What I'm going to do today for you is a letter that was put out by Chief Seattle in 1855. And this letter was sent to the President Pierce at the time, and it was sent to tell the world how the Native Americans felt about our earth. And I think it's very appropriate, and I would like to share it with you today.
Melissa, after these things were gigantic bubbles. Miss Williams, did you see that?
Every part of the earth is sacred to my people. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every clearing and humming insect is holy in the memory and experience of my people. The sap which courses through the trees carries the memories of the red man. We are part of the earth, and it is part of us. The perfume flowers are our sisters. The deer, the horse, the great eagle. These are our brothers. The rocky crests, the juices in the meadows, the body heat of the pony, the man, all belong to the same family. The rivers are our brothers. They quench our thirst. The rivers carry our canoes and feed our children. You must give the rivers the kindness you would give any brother. We know that the white man does not understand our ways. The earth is not his brother, but his enemy. And when he has conquered it, he moves on. He treats his mother the earth and his brother the sky as things to be bought, plundered, sold like sheep or bright beads. There is no quiet place in this white man's cities, no place to hear the unfurling of leaves in spring or the rustle of an insect's wings. And what is there to life if a man cannot hear the lonely cry of the whippoorwill or the arguments of the frogs around the ponds at night? The Indian prefers the soft sound of the wind darting over the face of a pond, and the smell of the wind itself, cleaned by a midday rain, or scented with a pinyon pine. The air is precious to the red man, for all things share the same breath. The beast, the trees, the man, they all share the same breath. You must remember that the air shares its spirit with all life it supports. Teach your children what we have taught our children, that the earth is our mother. Whatsoever befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. The earth does not belong to man, man belongs to the earth. This we know. All things are connected like the blood which unites one family. All things are connected. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. Even the white man, whose God walks and talks with him as a friend, cannot be exempt from a common destiny. We may be brothers after all. We shall see. One thing we know which the white man may one day discover. Our God is the same God. The earth is precious to him, and to harm the earth is to heap contempt on its creator. When the last red man has vanished with his wilderness, and his memory is only the shadow of a cloud moving across the prairie, will these shores and forests still be here? Will there be any of the spirit of my people left? We love this earth as a newborn loves its mother's heartbeat. So if we sell our land, love it as we have loved it. Care for it as we have cared for it. Preserve the land for all children and love it, as God loves us all. As we are part of the land, you too are part of the land. This earth is precious to us. One thing we know, there is only one God. No man, be he red man or white man, can be apart. We are brothers after all. Peace be with you all.
Track 2. What's your name? We would like to direct everybody's attention over here to A Twist of Fate. They're going to entertain us for a while. We're going to go get something to eat. We appreciate everybody being here. And we'll be right back. Here's the Twist of Fate. We darn sure appreciate them coming out here.
Good afternoon, everybody! So happy to be here and celebrate Earth with you. Let's make a difference in Panama City and have a great place, an even better place to live in, and change the world.
She's dancing.